Oh, my name. Are we on?
We're on? Oh, what's up? What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We are the absolute professionals here at the Indy Spotlight. I am your host, the hashtag Certified Mark J. Williams, here with my co-host, as always,
the voice of the Texas wrestling fans, Kyle Smith. I almost messed it up that time.
Oh, yeah. Finally. I mess it up all the time.
I'm still perfect.
But tonight, we are going a little punk as we have El Baracho, Aven Axel, in the studio with us tonight. I think that you had told me once at Legacy that, no, really, you are a punk.
Oh, yeah. I'm a bassist and front man, yeah. We're shit nipple. We're trying to get around, but it's a little difficult. But we're still trying to get out there.
I do.
See, I think that's one of the reasons.
You love that band name.
We're in Austin. Because that's where me and my brother, when we wanted to start a band, we moved to Austin.
Oh, right on. Yeah, it's difficult to make money, but right now we're just more about like having a good time, having an excuse to hang out and make music. We have like 8 songs completed. We've only done like maybe 3 shows. We haven't really been paid yet, but we're gonna get there eventually.
Yeah,
that's the goal. Once we're plugged into everything, we'll start making some money. Hopefully.
So rather than try to remember this later on, I'll go ahead and ask this now. So would you say that the music industry, especially the indie music industry, punk rock scene, everything like that, is a lot like the indie wrestling scene?
Mm-hmm. The similarities are like unparalleled. I'm like, also. Like, what's cool about the wrestling scene and what's like also like frustrating is guys don't notice how like you can make money like the guys on the music scene, like, because they're struggling too. Like, bands are having such a hard time making money right now. They have to be touring constantly. Venues are taking they're taking money from the budget cuts constantly, so they gotta charge $35 a shirt, $80 a hoodie, but like they haven't done that to us yet.
Yeah.
So, like, the business side, I feel like when I talk to other guys out there that are working, it's like, why don't you take advantage then? Offer the fans an alternative when it comes to live entertainment for a cheaper product that's cool looking. Like, shout out to Dimitri. His merch, super dope, reasonably priced.
Yep.
Like, he's a guy's merch that I like a lot. Myself, I try and offer nothing more than $25. Yep. Because when you go to a show nowadays, it's like you're paying $80 a sweater. I was at Sick New World in Vegas, and that was like $80 a hoodie. That's insane for a hoodie. Like, I don't know. And then $20 for a can of Liquid Death is fucking madness.
Good.
Yeah, like, there's no alcohol. It's water. It's water in a can.
It's water.
Like, it's freaking nuts.
It's water with a good PR agent.
Yep.
A really good PR agent.
Yeah, it is.
And they apparently also have a berry flavor now.
Yeah, they've got the new.
Yeah, they got a tea. They got a berry.
Yeah,
mango chili.
Which all, to me, they all taste like LaCroix anyway. So
it all needs alcohol. That's all I'm going to say. Eventually, we'll release like some sort of hard,
hard seltzer kind of thing.
For sure. Yeah. Everyone did.
Yeah,
for sure.
But that is something that you kind of mentioned, like the indie wrestling, indie music, very similar. And one of my favorite podcasts I listen to is Small Town Murder. they're comedians. Very same thing. They're like,
Yeah.
it's very weird how the indie wrestler lifestyle and the comedian lifestyle are so similar. As far as like traveling, sleeping in hotels, being in different cities everywhere, trying to find ways to either help you sleep or keep you awake. It's all weird. Yeah. And it's how eerie they are. And then also certain cases and the downer of it of how they end their lives and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, fun fact. Before I really hopped back into wrestling, there was like a 2-year gap where I was like out of it. So I started to dip into like stand up when I was staying in the Valley for a while at the Flying Walrus. Shout out to the Flying Walrus for paying for all my alcohol tabs and letting me do stand up there on open mic nights. It was really fun. And shout out to Superstar Comedy for all those views. That was sick. By the way, but no, yeah, I get it. All those guys were just literally up there on stage all night from 7 to midnight or 2 in the morning for bar tabs, like $20 bar tabs. You know, and that's how they got paid. That's how we got paid. So, yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah. So it's music, it's comedy, it's wrestling. It's all in the same realm.
Right.
So like when guys, it's entertainment. And when guys ask me like, "What's your advice?" Like my advice is like, get your money. Yeah. Like they're like, "Oh, what about the moves or whatever?" It's like, dude, that's almost secondary. Like you should be making a living at this. Yeah. By all means, because all the other stuff is second and third. Like, if you're not making a living with this, then why are you punishing your body? Like that's the part that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And yeah, that's just kind of where I sit with all that.
Which I guess going into our first question, when he's always asked, how did you fall in love with wrestling, and then how did you get into the business itself?
Woo, that's a great question.
I like asking it that way better. That's actually
I love it. So easy. I was at WrestleMania X7. My parents were like, my whole situation, we were like shameless, broke, poor. Like, dude, summers without AC, like, or electricity. But my aunt lived in Houston at the time, and this is like when you had to wait in line, and internet was just coming around to buy tickets online. Yep. And she was like, "I got your ticket, 5th row behind the announcers, and I got your parents nosebleed. But my parents got to sit next to the WCW guys in the nosebleeds, so even they got a pretty cool experience."
Nice. That is
awesome.
Cool.
So that was my I was like, this is what I gotta do.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do as a young kid.
Have you ever looked back at X7 and tried to find yourself since you're kind of just 5 rows back?
No, but like in a sense of like multiverse, looking at yourself, the future school that I would end up training at has a sign which is TASW, which is Texas All-Star Wrestling. Another shout out to Bob Murphy and for helping me get my start out in the game, which was really like Houston was a big part of helping me get out there in the wrestling scene. And like I was essentially a poor kid just coming out of like military stuff, and I didn't have a lot of money, but I told them like, hey man, I could tear down the ring, I can ref. What do you guys want me to do? And they gave me that chance. I tore down the ring for like a whole year. That's all I did. They wouldn't train me on anything. I just got allowed to train with the lucha guys.
Right.
You got the real apprentice work.
Yeah, I loved it though. I loved it. Like my parents literally one day came to see what I was doing because they were visiting my aunt, and it was just me tearing the ring down and putting it up, like putting it up and tearing it down.
Damn.
And that was it. That's all they saw me do. And it was humbling, and like it was just a cool experience overall to where I am now, and I appreciate every step of it. Yeah. Like I feel like in a weird way I got access to something that I wish more of the guys nowadays would have access to. Like, it's not that it was punishing or anything like that, but what it is, it's like, it's kind of like an apprentice approach. You know what I mean? Like, when you take a bump in the ring and you hear something like make a ding weird or like a pop, you're like, oh, wait, maybe one of the ropes underneath, the steel ropes popped, or maybe a board snapped, and you could start to evaluate things in your mind and adjust to it.
It really
whole
is.
New level of ring awareness.
For sure.
It really is teaching a respect for the ring and the craft and everything about the business.
100%.
It's
no, that's
perspective.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you obviously, because that is a very old school approach to training, wrestling, stuff like that, and there's this new approach where they take your money and will train you, and sometimes they'll just take your money. but you also kind of get in there more in training wise before setting up the ring and stuff like that. Do you feel the old school approach is a little better than the new school, or is it kind of like a hybrid of both, like where you should really kind of do both maybe?
It's I feel like there could be a hybrid of both, but also like the talent that's out there doesn't equate. This is gonna sound like super gatekeeper style, so fucking hit me if you want in the goddamn fucking comments. I really don't give a shit. But like in my time period, like when I got to train, it was Gino, it was Brian Keith, it was Lowrider, it was a whole bunch of group of guys that it was guys willing to take time out of their day to make sure I didn't look or sound like shit and tell me to my face that like, hey man, you can work on this, you can work on this, let's work on this tonight. And constantly testing me and punishing me for not knowing what I was doing and course correcting me. And to this day, like that's what I like to stress about is like sometimes punishments are punishments. They're like it's there to make you better.
Yeah, it's teaching lessons.
Yeah, for sure. Like I remember, Lowrider's like so much younger than me, but whenever I messed up, it was chops and then doing my steps outside of the ring, constantly outside until it was like an hour later until I could get back in the ring. But I appreciate every piece of that, like 100%.
So Greg wants to know what promotion and where can we see you wrestle?
Right now, I'm going to go through a list. So there's several. So I'm going to start from the farthest south to the Panhandle. So I'm going to go to the Valley for Combat Cult. To me, they put on a great product for being down to 956, and they're kind of isolated for everything. So I would recommend seeing my action with Combat Cult. They have a YouTube page. Going up farther north to Austin, I highly recommend going through Baracho Pro. They've uploaded several matches of mine as well, or one match of mine, sorry, not several. Then we can get to Houston. It's Loco. I recently did something for Trip 6 and them. That was fun where I got to wrestle Lucifer. That was fantastic. Super great. It was nothing but punks and metalheads in the venue, and we got pops galore. Go watch it. It's on my YouTube page. Super fun. And then PWI once in a while in San Antonio. Give them a shout out also. When we get to Laredo, my bad. Amazing Pro Wrestling. They give me some cool opportunities out there. Thank you, Rudy. Then we get into the DFW right now. As much as they love to ignore what I do for them, Matt War Pro. One day they'll see what I have to offer and maybe give me a platform to actually do some stuff. Yep. But they have an overall different product in the DFW for people to check out, and I appreciate about them. And if you haven't had a chance, you should look their stuff up. Yeah. A little bit farther up, we'll go to Square Circle Pro in Lubbock, Shit City. Fuck you, Lubbock. You suck ass.
Oh, you forgot everything. Legacy.
Oh, Legacy. I love Legacy. Carl Knight. Carl!
I was going to say, especially since there seem to be wheels turning again, finally. Yeah. Which, we're ready and waiting.
Because I just got word about that. So forgive me. Forgive me, Carl. Legacy, I would love to keep doing stuff with Legacy. I was there from the inception years ago.
I was going to say, you were the very first match. You were part of the very first match, technically.
Yeah, yes.
Before it was even Legacy.
Yeah.
You were part of the very first match there.
Man, it was the Legacy Invitational or something.
Exactly. And I think I'm one of the only guys, there's one other person from that match that's still active on the scene. So for sure, Legacy Texas, thank you so much, Carl. You're the man. And back going to Lubbock, which I'll end at, which is Squared Circle Pro, Jake's Back Room. There it's not only wrestling, they have El Nino, several metal acts, other stuff going on there.
I didn't know they had El Nino.
Yeah, they do. They have several metal bands that play there, punk bands, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then the last thing to take me in as real family is Total Fucking Chaos with High Pitch Will. Coming out of New York, New Jersey area on the East Coast. Thank you so much. We're going to be doing some good business, I think. So I think we'll be bringing that action here. Trying to get to some other things, but that's it for right now. Thank you for asking that, by the way.
A couple of things I did want to
thanks,
talk
Greg,
about.
for all the events for Weird Wednesday. Apologies.
No, that's fine. A couple of things I did want to talk about because I was, obviously watching stuff like that with Baracha Pro. I didn't get to go, but their atmosphere and their presentation seemed to be so cool. Just being on the beach and stuff like that. So I was wanting to get your take on how was that because you were on the very first show, right? Where it was the beach and everything like that. So what was that like being part of a promotion that is literally just starting, something different on the beach with the sunset in Texas, stuff like that. How was it coming out? And then did the presentation kind of shock you with what they were doing?
I wouldn't say shock. I was pleased. I was really happy because actually it was similar to where I came from, which is about 9 hours south from here, South Padre area, Portisville, which is where they're building like SpaceX and Elon Musk's new playground. That's where I'm from. So when I saw the beach and the water, I was like, oh, this is kind of like home. Nice. And I kind of get to like bleed near home. So that was kind of cool. But their product is different and familiar all at the same time of other spots. But I love the opportunities they give me, and I love also that being the first match on the first show for Baracho Pro was a one-of-a-kind experience when you get to, like, they're swinging light tubes and you see, like, water park slides. Right. It's, like, so different. It's so unusual.
Oh, man, glass at the beach is a whole new meaning.
Yeah.
and that's the thing, like, you know, we have that picture, which is one of the ones we used, with they had the actual, like, kind of pyro stuff behind you.
Sure.
So the presentation just seemed very cool.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And then the other promotion I wanted to talk about real quick that you had mentioned is Loco. They always seem to have good shows. They're a good company. They're fun to watch. I've been to that building before, and I just can't stand that building.
Yeah.
How do you feel as a performer going in? Because obviously the crowd, that atmosphere, there really is nothing like it. There is nothing as an atmosphere like that in the local arena. But the building itself and everything, I don't like it. But that atmosphere is intoxicating where you're like, okay, this is kind of cool. You can overlook the building, but as a performer, what's it like with that?
Well, what it is it's like more than anything, Loco is different in a sense of it's a brand. It's like it's punk wrestling in the sense of like how like Vans is a shoe. It's like Loco is wrestling in the sense of it's its own product. But I love what it is.
Right.
But the energy is so unusual, and it's like high. It's almost like a high pressure situation for every match to perform and top the next.
It really is kind of like a modern day ECW because you've
heard
ECW,
no doubt.
heard
I totally
ECW
agree.
fans talk about the building was horrible, but the crowd and the atmosphere and everything that went in that building is what made it.
Yeah,
100%.
I'll admit, when I first saw Loco, the only thing I really saw was that belt of theirs. I was looking at that going, oh man, this just seems like too weird. And then I actually started following Jaime Martinez, and it's just like, dude.
Oh yeah,
that energy is unparalleled. And when they ran that Trip 6 show, when it was just me and Lucifer, totally different energy.
Gotta find that match.
Nothing but punks and metalheads in the building. We broke all sorts of norms of sexuality, norms of violence, norms of religion, like norms of musical genres. We broke every type of norm you could imagine in 10 minutes. It was a high pressure situation because Lucifer also had a match at Circle 6 that night. So yeah, it was just, and we were in the Loco Bang Bus, so we were just like boom, 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 boom. What's next? What's next? What's next?
Nice.
And I didn't want to disappoint any of the other punks or metalheads in the crowd. But if you go back and look at that match on my YouTube, you can see that the cheers are constant, the crowd's entertained nonstop, and like nobody had to be severely injured in that match.
Awesome.
And like I feel like that gets missed a lot in today's entertainment is like you can have very entertaining hardcore genre bending matches without anybody having to take major physical damage.
Right.
Awesome.
Question?
So Greg asks, what is a dream match that you would love to do, and who is your dream opponent?
Ooh, that's weird because he's not alive anymore. So can we answer it that way?
Yes.
It's a dream match. So
I was gonna say everyone has that problem. It's like live or dead, whatever you want.
100% New Jack. New Jack's my dream match. I would love for if he was still here, New Jack would have been my dream opponent. I know. Like I feel like Gage has kind of replaced that element in pro wrestling, but nothing beats the reality of what New Jack had to offer when it came to realism. When I hear the stories when he was stepping into the locker room in Austin, when I talked to some of the boys that got to actually work with him, like that's the environment I would have loved to have been in also.
Right.
For sure.
Awesome.
Greg has another question, which is, who have you wrestled that gave you a rush or some sort of butterflies?
Ooh, I like that. Actually, recently was Lucifer, and if you're really into like the scene, you'll know why that matters. Lucifer could be intimidating. Also secondary to that was working in the same match as Doki, because Doki is just a whole nother level of physicality.
Yeah.
Like he's a whole nother level of like being in shape. And like when you see him, you're like, oh man, I don't know if I'm that kind of human right now. But yeah, he's dope.
Nice.
Trollix asks, where can we hear your music?
Music nowhere right now at all. Like you just got to catch a live show and pay attention to my socials. And when that gets announced, please come out and I'll make sure like I'll set out some free merch for
That
you.
was you gonna
That
say.
is the ultimate fucking punk.
That was my follow-up.
Yeah.
Was like, when's your next live show?
Yeah, there's nowhere right now. It was supposed to have been a event that was free for someone who had passed away, but we kind of like fell through on that one because they had a show. So, but the next stuff I post up will be on my socials. So basically,
Do you, I guess because it is still kind of new and you are in wrestling, do you find balancing schedules with music and wrestling kind of hard?
oh for sure,
Because
it's
obviously
difficult.
Saturday is the prime day for both.
Yeah. So even when it comes to making music now, I write the primary pieces at home. I have a jam room, and I just kind of go at it for 5 or 6 hours, really. And I just write down, I record a whole bunch of pieces, and I send it to the rest of the guys. They tune into it, they hone it, they send it back to me. I'm like, okay, I dig what's going on. I might put some lyrics down, then we jam together, and that's how we cut it in half, essentially, when it comes to producing songs for ourselves.
Yeah.
So we're able to be 8 songs in, and we've only been together for like a year and a half.
Nice.
So it's worked pretty well that way.
So Phil Noir asks, what's the best and worst thing about tagging with Sauce?
Oh man, you're a dick, Phil. You motherfucker. You fucking know what's about to happen.
You did just shit on his hometown. I just want you to know that.
Yeah.
Well, fuck that guy.
Well, I mean, worst towns
I love you,
in
Phil. I love you.
worst towns in Texas. Number 1, Houston.
Yeah, go
Number
look it
2,
on YouTube.
Lubbock, so-
There's a fucking list. Your town sucks. It's not my fucking fault. Get raised better. I don't know what to tell you. But,
You're gonna get
Brown-
another hey Kyle.
Brownsville's like number 3 on every list, bro. Like, I'm sorry, I'm from there, so fucking grow up. So,
Hey, gimmick infringement.
the worst things about tagging with Sauce, nothing really. Like, I don't have any real complaints, dude. I love traveling with Sauce. When it's not traveling with Sauce, it's kind of boring, to be really honest. I love Sauce. I wish I could have gone Sauce 20 years ago. That's the brutal truth. But if you look at that fucking footage, you know what I'm talking about. He could fucking go. He was like on the next level of being like Samoa Joe status. He was in there tearing up with Rex Reed. He was a savage. So yeah, if I could go back in time, I'd grab Sauce from like 2005 to 10 and bring him now. That's it.
Let's see, we've got, do you have any way that we can find your merchandise?
Strictly through me. Whether you go through Facebook or Instagram, holler at me. I have all my merch. I literally deliver it to you if you're in a DFW. I'll go all the way to South Dallas to North Fort Worth. I've delivered all the way to the other side,
You've got no fear.
east or west. Yeah, I don't care. I'm out there. I'm out there out on the fucking roads. I don't give a shit. So if you really want to put in an order, holler at me. I'll get it to your home personally, or I can mail it out to you. I really don't care.
I was like, bro, they have this thing called, the pony.
Yeah, but that's an extra
They have
$5. Like, I'll mail it to you for an extra $5. I really don't care.
I was gonna say, sir, gas is expensive.
Hey man, it's
I'm just thinking North
when
Fort
you're trying
Worth
to-
versus South Dallas.
you're
like,
trying to sell out
cops
the
or
back of your
gangs,
trunk.
What are you dealing
It-
with?
It's
I
trying
grew,
to
up, I grew up in Southeast Dallas. That's fine.
get. You see what's up. You know what's up.
He's not that gangster.
I grew up
Don't
in the
let
ghetto.
him- No, he's not that gangster. Don't let him fool you.
I am. Street tough.
214.
Yeah.
Grow up.
Yeah, that's gimmick infringement.
Got fucking alcohol in my glasses. That's fucking funny.
For the rest of my life, every time that Demo says that, I'm just gonna be like gimmick infringement.
So coming up, because we talked about it a little bit, obviously you teamed with Sauce. It made its ways around Facebook, and a lot of people wanted it. You and Zero, you and Rook, Zero, Rook, and you, kind of as a stable. I guess my
That's
question.
the trios team we want.
100%.
It is, and everyone wants it. I know you, and I know Zero, and I know y'all have all said you're down for it. is that something that there's been serious talks about? And then I have a follow-up question to that kind of leads into music.
I've talked to Zero about it. I know he's talked to hires at NPX about it. Rook, I've come into contact in passing through GWF, which we are currently GWF Tag Champs. Me and Sauce through those kudos. So yeah, I'm 100% down. That sounds like a tremendous trio. I think Rook could have a lot to learn from both me and Zero. And every time I see Zero in the pits, it's always a good time. So yeah, I'm 100% down.
So
for
I was
that
gonna
to
say,
happen.
so you do actually already have a bond.
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
with Zero outside of never even teaming or working together.
For sure. I've been a fan of Zero's work. Before I even got to meet him. To be honest, I've been associated with NPX for a long time now. Since I moved to DFW, I got recommended to train there under the training of Kirby.
You're right.
And he, I can honestly give him credit too, and I'll say here, shout out to Kirby, because he kept me sharp for a few years when I didn't have anywhere to go. So shout out to Kirby for helping me stay sharp, develop who I am, to be honest, because I actually came up to him and asked him if I could do the Baracho gimmick, because he was doing the Jackie gimmick and all that. And I literally pulled him aside and asked him, like, hey man, I have this idea going on. Man, this must have been like 4 or 5 years ago by now. And he was like, yeah, if you can make it happen, I think you could do it in a different way. And that was the whole goal. And I guess we're sitting here this many years later, it's been different. It's been in different situations, presented differently. So I guess it has worked. So I have him to thank also, for sure. I have MPX to thank for a lot, to be really honest.
Now they just need to book him.
That's fine.
I'm here. I'm waiting. That'd be great.
My in the back shout-outs. It's not like I wasn't there whenever you were training.
Yeah, Livy was there also. I trained with Livy so many times that I can't even count. Like, yeah, I've been in that MPX ring so many times unofficially that I can't. It was Legacy. There was what was what's that other promotion that runs? That's now also that runs at the church that Matt Ward Pro runs out of. What's that other one?
Lucha.
Lucha Brutal.
I was like, wait a minute, I know this one. I worked this one. What
Hey, so did I, bro. I didn't fucking remember.
It's like, it's one of my favorite promotions, Lucha Brutal.
I got to work for Lucha Brutal out of that building also. So unofficially, I've worked out of the NPX building, and they've been what they are. There was no injuries. There were entertaining matches. I just think my form of entertainment is different than from how most guys in that building approach entertain fans.
And it is, you are, because we kind of talked about it with Loco, you are built for that type of crowd and that atmosphere. Loco, Circle 6, like the very kind of more punkish type shows. Not to say that you couldn't work an MPX weekly episodic and stuff because like Matt War Pro. Matt War Pro is a very different style than any other wrestling promotion out there.
To stick out what I forgot was King of Sports also. I was there last month, so that's a whole other sports-based product that I get to mess with.
Which, in my second part of that question, going back to you, Zero, and Rook being a tag, going to music, when you're trying to develop like a tag team, and obviously when you develop music, like how did that come about? Like how did you find your musical partners and stuff like that?
Pretty easy, because I feel like everybody was approaching wrestling through wrestling. And when you use the same formula and everybody's using the same formula, you get the same result. And when you do that, there's no way to separate yourself from the crowd, so everybody has the same similar product. It's the same gear, it's the same attitude, it's the same let's fucking go cutting out the curtain. So I started to just literally step away from pro wrestling, period. I don't watch AEW, I don't watch WWE. I pay attention to Circle 6, I pay attention to what's going on the underground scene, because I feel like that's where my product lies. So I started to read a lot on Rick Rubin. I don't know if you guys are familiar with who he is. He produced everybody from Slipknot to Johnny Cash, ZZ Top. So his approach on creativity and not being boxed in music is how I don't want to be boxed in with pro wrestling. I want to be able to entertain people in a way that nobody else is doing it. And that's how I see it. And I feel like for the niche that I want to approach, that's what works for me. Like my approach is not to entertain 90% of the wrestling industry. It's to entertain the 10% that I enjoy entertaining.
Which is also you're not playing a character. It's you.
Yeah,
like,
that's
this
the best
is what
part.
you are.
That's
It's
the
not
best
even you
part.
turned up to 11. It's just we've seen you out there. It's
Yeah, literally,
Yeah.
it's just me. It's me in every single stance and like outlook, and it's who I am is what's reflected. I don't need a mask. I don't need paint.
Right.
I am who I am, and I love it. And I love that it took me a long time to get out of the usual circle of like, do this, this, and this, and you'll succeed. I was like, okay. And I did that for 4 or 5 years, and it just like, it spun tires.
Yeah.
And like, there's going to be guys out there that have better abs than you. There's going to be guys out there that have better gear than you. There's going to be guys out there that have better socials than you. But what can you really do to separate yourself to attract a niche part of that audience and make you special? And that's all I really wanted to do. And once I found out, like, okay, there's people who love trauma, and there's people who love punk, and there's people who love metal, and they just want to see what I have to offer them. And they approach me after a show, and I can see all the influences working, and I can hear in the back of the room, I'm fucking with you. When I cut my promos, like, it's not 80% of the room that's on my side. It's a 10 or 20. Right. And I know, like, logistically, it doesn't sound right, but at the same time, like, it works for me.
Right.
Like, I keep a box of merch for 2 months and it's gone. Maybe at most. Like, on a slow merch box level. So, everybody has a different path, but that's just been what's worked for me.
So, do you have anyone that is like an inspiration in your life or wrestling career?
Wrestling career, all of ECW. Like, everything. All of ECW. All of Mid-South and ECW.
Nice.
Like, once I could notice that you could work in wrestling and just, like, kind of work outside the box of what it has to offer and, like, bring your influences in and project that, that's what hooked me. Yeah. Like, yeah, 100%.
Is it better for you to hold a championship belt, or do you feel like it's better to chase it?
I don't give a fuck about either one. I don't care about belts. It's the most, like, what does it mean? What does it really mean nowadays? If you look at any promotion, they have 10, 20 of them, 30 of them, whatever.
So you have the Bruce Pritchard approach of it's just a prop.
Sure,
like,
I mean,
really doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like, if we were talking, maybe like 20, 30 years ago, there was guys whose paydays depended on it. You know, there's whole locker rooms that depended on it.
Yeah.
What we're looking at in 2023, we're like, does a championship matter? Sorry, I've been drinking. Matter more than your following on your social medias?
Right.
Like, what matters nowadays, really? That's how I look at it.
Well, and that's the thing. I think people just take the big Fed, for example. People will look at a Roman Reigns as, oh, he's the champion, he's the guy. But then you watch a guy like Dolph Ziggler, and you're like, no, that's the better wrestler. That's the better worker. That is their workhorse.
There's guys in
but
Texas.
There's no title on
Exactly,
them, so.
exactly. Like, there's guys in Texas that deserve all the belts.
Yeah.
It should be like Brian Keith. It should be Brick Savage. It should be like Damo. It should be guys like this that have all the belts.
Yeah.
But, like, why don't they?
Right.
Because it's the whole ecosystem that, wrestling works in.
Yeah.
Like, let's
The
just be
wrestling
honest.
ecosystem. I like that.
And going to touch a little bit back on what you said when you were talking about how you kind of who you are and stuff like that. Were you ever approached about like, hey, don't really be yourself, like try to be this, try to be that?
Oh, for sure.
To get more out there, because like you even said, you're like, you do this for the 10% of people that like you, or for the 15%. Like, you do this for the people that are like you. But yeah, were you ever approached to be like, no, you should be like this to get this?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. Like, the hardest part of my career was ignoring the first 6 years of my career. That was the hardest part, because everybody was like, get your abs, get your gear looking right, go to all these seminars, do these promotions, and like,
Do it the right way.
yeah, there used to be like, okay, well, let's get real. There used to be a pathway in wrestling. And like, I feel like that pathway might have existed until like 2010 or 12. Okay. And like, there's a handful of guys right now that are in the system that are succeeding, that were a part of it. The Sammy Guevara's, your MJF's, your Darby Allin's, your Austin Theories, your Raquel Gonzalez's, whatever the name she's under now, Roxy's.
Yeah.
They were all part of that and became successful. I just don't see that system working the same way anymore from like here on out.
Right.
I think the wrestling game has completely changed 100%, and now they're disassociative of each other.
Yeah.
And it's totally different. And I feel like now us guys that are under. I don't mean to sound fucked up, but we're underneath that. I feel like it's WWE, AEW, and everybody else is underneath that, even NWA. Yeah. Because I mean, we get to work shows with the NWA guys all the time on the indie circuit. So it's,
Legacy, you worked one of their tag teams.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's what I mean. It's like we have a way to, and it's not a negative thing.
Right.
I just mean that it's a different pathway that we all have to take now, and no wrestler, no performer has the same pathway. It's all different now, and how can you make it happen for you?
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
And that's how you get your, honestly, your Kid Bandits and the like.
Yeah. Oh, Kid Bandit. Good stuff.
But speaking of that, do you think that actually helped out, given that you're honestly the definition of a road warrior when it comes to wrestling? You're all over the place.
Yeah, I love it though. Like, I love to drive. I've always loved to drive. I've been driving since I was 13. My dad would send me out on like trips to Whataburger. Like, he was just like, go get me a number 2 and here's like a 20 and get yourself something and bring the van back in one piece.
Back when it was $5 for him.
No lie.
You could have done that back in the day. Now,
no lie.
Now that 20 is the.
I guess touch on that a little bit, talking about your parents and everything. How supportive have they been of, I guess not necessarily even just wrestling, because that's, yes, what we're talking about, but also music and just like you in general as life. Because while, yes, you're cool and everything like that, you are very different. And it's probably not what most parents would expect their kids to be, sort of big. Like every parent has that, I want them to be a doctor or a lawyer, when they don't really think, oh, this is my kid. Like,
for sure.
Like you just had a kid. You're expecting great things from them, but you don't really necessarily know what they're going to be or what they choose.
Yeah.
So...
in the last 4 years was probably the most amount of respect I've ever gotten from my father. Like, ever. I don't know what it is. Like, we connected through wrestling. Like, our whole family really connected to wrestling, whether it was WrestleMania X7. Before that, like, we had gone to see wrestling shows. WWE used to run wrestling shows on South Padre at the convention center. And those were like $25 tickets. And they were small shows, but they were running out of the convention center. It wasn't until like X7 where I started to see like, oh, we're really sacrificing like a lot to be at this show right now. And then I got into it, and my dad's like, dude, what are you doing right now? Like, you're not making anything.
Right. You're
going to Mexico to work for $7. You got to pay $3.50 to get back across. Like, I'm going home with $2. And this was probably like 2012 or 13. And like, it wasn't until about 4 or 5 years ago to when he was like, I'm proud of you. And like, that's when it hit. I was like, okay, cool. Maybe I'm doing my shit right. And it like, it took me so long to unwire from like all the old heads and like people in the industry that were like, you're not going to make WWE and AEW. And it was like something I had to like really tell myself, like, okay, but that's also like not the path I was meant to be on.
Right.
And it's okay, because there is a way you can make like a living on the road. Is it tougher? I mean, yeah. Is it a little lonelier? Well, yeah. But you also have friends at those promotions.
Yeah.
You also have fans at those promotions. Like the Wong brothers, I see them at so many shows that they make it, they're like family now. I see them at so many goddamn shows. Yeah. And like, there's ways to make it in this game. I wish that people would stop telling all these young cats that the only way you can make it is to be a part of one of 2 companies, because you can really make it out there if you try.
Yeah.
Greg's asked, is it hard to, hard to ask this, are you good or bad, face or heel?
I love playing either or. I love doing either or. Playing is this fucking stupid way to put it. I should have said that. I love doing either or.
Yeah.
I feel like I get to play into the human emotion of the people there in either situation. I feel like I can tap into people's frustration as a heel, and I feel like I can tap into it as a face.
Right.
It just depends what a promoter needs from me, and I will make it happen.
I mean, hell, Legacy, talking about Legacy Texas, you did pretty much both sides within a single show.
Yeah. Exactly. And, King of Sports is heel stuff, and at Matt Ward Pro recently was like this weird like heel thing, but then at the same time it was a face situation where there was a couple people in the back room that were like literally screamed, "I'm with you." So like it's a different approach, and I try and tap into really just a working man's culture, like what's going on now and with what's happening with normal people. That's what I want to tap into.
And I guess that's the thing is, like you said, you kind of don't have a choice. So like when you go to a promotion that you've never been to, like say you're booked at MPX, and it's one of those things where they approach you. Do you have like a general idea of what you want to do, and you kind of pitch it, or you're one of those that literally give me whatever you want, I'll take it and run?
Oh
with
yeah,
it?
I'll listen to the whole thing, 100%, 100%. Whatever they need, I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
And if there's tweaks here and there where we can like compromise with each
Right.
other and come to an agreement that where everybody wins, then that's key, I think.
Right.
But I've also done work where like they just want me to do what they want me to do, and it's fine, I guess. It ends up all right.
Whose idea was the power spot that went viral on TikTok?
Wow, how long has this been going and now we get that question? Not mine. Not mine.
I actually held off because I wanted to see how long before someone brought it up.
I would love to have said it was mine, but it was not mine. I think the way I did my part in that spot is what made it what it was. That wasn't really discussed. But that's also the difference in calling an audible when you're given something is what do you do with it? Like, how do you sell it? How do you deal with that situation? So that was that situation exactly. It wasn't mine. And shout out once again to Hell Patrol, because they're as green as they are. They have ideas that are beyond what they can do. Awesome. But once again, it's like the ideas sometimes can be greater than what you can do, as long as the idea of safety outdoes the if it makes any sense. As long as it's safe, the idea can be fucking grand.
It's a good in theory, bad in execution.
Yeah, don't be like an unathletic fuck and be like, I'm gonna do a 450 and you're gonna be on the door and I'm gonna go 3. Like, that's a terrible idea. Then I'm not gonna agree to that.
So don't be Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 19 trying to do a shooting star.
That's probably a bad idea.
Even though you've done it 20,000 times.
It's a big building. It's a lot of people.
Because I guess you are talking about a little bit with safety and stuff like that. You've done some hardcore and death matches and stuff like that. How, I guess one question, number one, is do you have any flat out no's? Like some people are like absolutely no fire, no gussets. Like, do you have any no's going in?
As long as the person on the other side is knowledgeable and trustworthy, I'm down for anything.
Okay.
That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, so you don't have anything like, nope, I'm terrified of fire, never doing it. But
no.
If you trusted the person, you're like, yeah, we can do a flip the table, that's cool.
100%.
All right.
100%, yeah.
I think that actually answers Greg's question, too. But actually, Greg asked a question earlier that actually kind of ties into what you were talking about just a bit ago, about, ideas and everything like that. He was asking, do you prefer to work solo as a singles wrestler, or do you like to work in a tag team?
That's a difficult one to answer because it's just like we get back into the discussion of music. Mm-hmm. It's like in music, the less band members you have, the more dependable the band is. And in tag teams, it's almost like the same way. It's like you have a tag with me and Sauce. He has a lot more road time than I do, so there's going to be situations where it weighs on him, and it's understandable, 100%. Salute, gents. I love it.
Okay, no, it's fine. Fuck production. I was
certified Mark. Hey, you're over there. Net. Here you go. You got to get one in.
Oh,
a small one.
30 minutes early.
Small one. All right, boys.
Yup.
Oh, that's good. Sorry, I didn't know we're waiting until 10.
But I do love the aspect of being in a tag or a team or a family. Like, I don't mean to sound like fucking Vin Diesel, but like, to me, like, already Total fucking Chaos with High Pitch Will is like family shit. Like with Kyle, like, it's a bunch of punks. It's like the team for Total fucking Chaos essentially is like the Avengers of the rest. The punk,
underground.
It's like the punk community of pro wrestling and the Avengers style. We're all coming together. It's like,
nice.
That's basically what it is, and I'm really excited to hopefully be a part of that here soon. So look out for that.
One thing I did want to touch on, because you did talk about one of your biggest inspirations is New Jack. What about someone that you kind of have shared a locker room with, or someone that you have tagged with, or someone that did kind of train you? Who gave you the best advice and helped you kind of the most?
Ooh, that's different. It's a litany of guys. Yeah. So I'm gonna put like 5 guys on the list. I mean, not to sound like the burger joint, but like, I'm gonna put Manimal. Manimal was a big help in my later development to help me smooth out who I am. Kirby helped me learn how to economize my work a lot and develop my character.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to Brian Keith and Gino equally to teach me how to be athletic and how to make being smooth being smooth count.
That is one thing I think, because Bruce Prichard loves Gino, and he's talked about it on his podcast all the time. And that was the thing he said is he's just so smooth when you watch him in the ring, and he is. Like rewatching some of his matches and seeing him now, I'm like, holy shit, he is so smooth.
For
like,
sure, 100%.
He really is, and it will sound wrong, but he really is kind of almost Eddie Guerrero incarnate. Like he is that good and he is that smooth. When you watch him in the ring, like it's amazing to watch him. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, how is he not signed to a major contract and a major TV deal? This guy has everything. He's young. He's got the look. In ring, not many people can touch him. And even if there is, like his opponent messes up, he fixes it to where you can't tell because he just smoothed it out. Like it's amazing.
All in that same token, it's Gino, it's Brian Keith, it's Ryan Davidson, and Lowrider.
Yeah.
All together help me learn a whole bunch of shit that really matters.
Right.
And then I'm going to say Doki as well, because Doki really taught me, like, wrestle how you wrestle. Like, I remember him telling me that. We were at a Lucci event. That was probably one of his last American events, because I remember him being frustrated in the States. And I was like, what should I do? He was like, just wrestle how you wrestle.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. Just wrestle how you wrestle. I was like, okay, cool. So, like, fuck the standards and just, like, do my character shit.
Which, yeah, I guess like, we touched it a little bit. Like, hey, did you have to change yourself, or were you told to change yourself, wrestling style wise? Were you told, hey, do this, do that, don't do that? And you're like, no, this is what I want to do. I'm going to do this.
To me, it was just looking at my numbers, like in my account. Like, the more I just tried to follow everybody's like formula, for lack of a better term. Like, get the abs, get the gear, hit the road in these specific promotions. I was like, okay, cool. I'm getting like my 40, my $50 here and there, but like it wasn't really doing anything.
Right.
So like the more I was just like, fuck it, I just want to do these things.
Yeah.
And like I want to entertain people with these things in line with those things.
Right.
And I like started to detail my own little path. The more I saw my account grow, and the more I saw my merch sell, and the more I was like, this is working.
Yeah.
This is working. I was like, okay, fuck it.
Authentic.
Yeah, I think that you're 100% right. Like, people know nowadays is like, okay, so it's given up. Like, kayfabe is kayfabe.
Yeah.
Like, people like when they see someone that's like, another huge inspiration for me that's not a worker is Dimebag Darrell from Pantera. It's like, he was always authentic. And like, every time I meet a roadie, because I live here, I meet roadies all the time that were in Pantera. And they're like, he was always nice. He always fed us. He always smoked us out. He always made sure we drank and we were happy. And it's like, when we're hanging out now, we're drinking, and we're all having a good ass time. That's a huge inspiration to me. Like, I want everybody to have a good time hanging around with me.
Right.
Because if we're not having a good time, then we're not making money, we're not moving forward, and like, what are we doing?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, in the long run, we should all be having a good time.
And actually, I was talking about this last week. I think that's actually a better word for it than verisimilitude. Authenticity.
Authenticity.
Not realism, but authenticity.
Which-
the fact that you can believe in the character even if you don't believe the show.
Right.
Which, and kind of touch on what you said. Yes, the end goal is to make money, but would you rather make a good payday or have fun?
Have fun, 100%.
You always
I don't
wanna
give
have
a
fun more.
fuck about money.
Yeah.
I mean, I do, like, I gotta pay my bills, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta pay my bills. I gotta pay where I live. Like, I gotta pay my electricity. I gotta make sure, like, food's on the table. But at the same time, like, I won't let the other side overpower that. Because I feel like I've lived long enough to have been on the other side of that to where, like, people make me fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need some dickhead boss who, like, has done nothing else in his life except this one job and this one company. Like, tell me what to do forever.
Right.
And I've done all these other things, and I know what it's like to be on the other side of that. So that's my version of living in the wrestling industry.
Because it kind of goes back, even just wrestling, but music. You had said, like, yeah, we've done some shows, done them for free or bar tabs. Those are, yes, to get exposure, but it's also, no, you want to have fun.
Yeah, hell yeah, you want to have fun, of
Yeah.
course. I think, like, everybody forgets that nowadays, and like, in life.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, I've seen the inside of like the Amazon like loading bays, and like that shit makes me fucking sad. Like, I mean, do I like getting a package in 2 days? That's great, but I feel bad for all those people too.
It's like, literally just like worker drones constantly.
Yeah, dude. Like the security in that place is insane. Like it's madness. Yes.
So, have you ever, or how far have you traveled, and is there any place that you'd like to travel to wrestle at?
For sure. So the farthest place I've traveled is going towards California. Was last year. We did. Was it It was near the Bay Area. I can't remember exactly what it was, but we did a seminar and then we worked with Best of the West Wrestling.
Okay.
Which shout out to them because they were cool people. And Christina Von Eerie out there.
Yeah,
She's also very cool people.
I remember that because they tried to pop up and compete with PWG a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Good times, though. Good shows. I would love to get more out into the East Coast, and I think that's going to happen. But I've also gone far into Mexico, and I think there's going to be some moves being made pretty soon. I guess you guys are kind of getting the exclusive right now.
Awesome.
Baracho Pro is reaching out into Monterrey, Mexico, and I'm on that trip.
Wow.
So be looking out for that coming out soon. Shout out to Baracho Pro for setting that up and letting me be part of that.
I was thought you were going to say Zona 23, but I was like,
Who
yeah!
knows? I really honestly don't know what the promotion will be yet. All I've done is like I'm a part of a group that's going into Monterrey, Mexico with Baracho Pro. But that is happening.
So I was going to say, seeing you in the junkyard would be fucking amazing.
Hey, I'm in. I'm 100% in. I'm 100% in. 100%.
I was going to say, I'm one of those.
Wait. Is that the same one where you saw, what was her name? I think it's
Sadika slammed her best friend through a windshield.
Yes.
Hey, let's get into another one.
That's the thing. Like, a lot of people hate it. I'm one of those weirdos. I fucking love the junkyard shows at Zona 23.
Not to kill the kayfabe, but I learned a lot from Sadiko from that match. I got to sit down with her, and she put that match on for me and taught me what I needed to know about deathmatch.
Nice.
And that was a big learning point, too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put that at the 5 we were talking about earlier.
Right.
She's in that for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, and that's cool. And I guess that's something you're kind of looking more forward to. Do you look to get into more death matches, or are you kind of like, every now and then, but not really? Or no, I want it?
Yeah, I want more of it, but I also have a different approach on deathmatch. Is I like we were talking about how Rick Rubin didn't have any borders to music. I don't have any borders to deathmatch, and I believe like you can have a shock and awe approach to deathmatch without the gore portion.
Right.
You can have it in there, and I've done it, and you can do it, but you can get into doing stuff, breaking out of social norms that get a bigger pop than having to do skewers. Right. That's all I'm saying.
And then that's the thing. I enjoy Sky and Dimitri when they do death matches because it's like that. Whenever they do something, it has a purpose. Yeah. It has a reason. It's not just let's be violent to be violent.
Exactly.
They literally lay their matches out and build to the violence, and it's amazing to watch those two individually or against each other work a death match. For sure.
Like our high spot at Trip 6 with local wrestling between me and Lucifer, our high spot was a blowjob spot. That's all I'm going to say. You got to watch the rest. You got to watch the rest. I got a blowjob from the devil in between everybody, and it was the biggest pop of the night, but it worked. Yeah. And that was something that I really wanted to try out because I felt like I could push some norms here that are beyond of what people think can happen.
Especially since it's a show full of punkers and metalheads, it's like sometimes you see the knowing those crowds.
For sure,
they can be some of the most accepting, wonderful people, but there are the scumbags.
The whole point to that is like I wanted the match to be Party with the Devil, but turned up all the way to 12.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's one of those where, like you said, like with your blowjob spot with Lucifer, do you feel there's certain lines across? Like XPW got in a lot of controversy a couple months ago with the whole syringe to the dick thing.
You could do that without the syringe. That's all I'm saying. You can have the same effect without the syringe. You could have the same psychological ramification without having to go that into detail. Like, it's easy.
So in wrestling, do you feel there's ever a line to be crossed, or no, it's wrestling, just anything goes?
Anything goes. There's never no line. It just has to be the setting that's appropriate for the demographic that's in the house. Like, if you really want to put on a show that has no ramifications and no rules, let it be a 21 and up.
Yeah.
And, like, let it roll.
Like the like Casanova with the no ring death matches. They're 21 and up. They're usually at bars, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And to Matt Palmer, also, that's another shout out I want to give is to Matt Palmer, who told me not to be boring with my gear. And that was a big revolution in my game. Thank you. Be violent. Be violent is definitely a necessity in the sport. And I've got some ideas that are going to come out soon that I think will revolutionize a lot of the stuff I've done.
King of the
So,
DL.
keep out.
So you've been in two different
Big
kinds of
Wait a
blow
minute,
spots
look,
now.
Palmer learned.
He learned not to get canceled.
Yeah, two different types of blow spots now. One with Lucifer, one with
I think there's some stuff we can work on into MPX for sure.
What
I'm just saying.
I think MPX.
While you're here, by the way, Palmer, we really would like to see Aven Axel on Saturdays. Just saying.
I'm right down the road. I would
I know
love
there
it.
are people who will buy a ticket to be there.
Yeah.
I would love it. 7.8 million views. There's got to be 10% interested. That's all I'm saying. There's got to be 10 or 1%
There's
interested.
at least just a few.
A few, 100. We'll take 100 of those people being interested.
And going back a little bit, because we were talking about Palmer and stuff like that, is there anyone you've been in the ring with that you weren't necessarily awestruck with, but you're like, oh my gosh, I'm actually getting to work this person. This is cool.
For Doki. That was Doki, 100%. That was Doki.
Doki?
Yeah,
Seriously?
Doki has always been that guy for me because, man, if you guys ever get a hold of him and do a fucking interview with Doki, he'll tell you some crazy stories.
I bet.
I took him down to the valley and like
Our PR is good. I don't know if she's that
my
good.
my fucking
I won't deny her.
my fucking uncle
That was a
like
challenge.
fucking
Shut up.
a fucking dealer and woke Doki up at like 2 or 3 in the morning and was trying to get him to drive his fucking car to move around in the hometown, and I had to get up and basically slap my uncle and be like, "Hey man, you can't take my people and do this shit. Like they fucking barely got visas. Like what the fuck?" So like it was a whole argument, and yeah, it was something. But much love to Doki because I love the shit he did on AEW recently. It's a big comeback.
Can we shift Greg's next question around just a little bit?
For sure, please.
Okay, would you ever do intergender?
100%.
Now, the one I wanted to shift around with that is who would you like to work intergender matches with?
Max, Ian Baylor, 100%. Yeah, and whatever is on the table, I'm open for. Like, I have no qualms about the determination of that or whatever. Like, I'm just down. I don't give a fuck. I'm down.
It's wrestling.
I'm down. I don't care.
Those people who are like, oh, a girl would never beat a guy in a fight. Oh, bullshit.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about any of that.
But you believe...
I was going to say, I've said it 50,000 fucking times. Olivia will kick my
Livy,
ass. I know that.
I was gonna say Livy. I never got to work Livy. Livy, Max. I'm down. Either or. I'm just saying Livy or Max.
Yes, let's
make
Livy
it
out of
happen.
retirement again.
I never got that. And Livy, we've trained. We know. You know what's up. We can make it happen.
Yeah, you can do all the lucha shit and I'll do all the ground and
Hey,
pound.
I'm in 100%. 100%. I'm fucking in.
Actually, I was going to ask that because we have seen your style a little bit. Would you consider yourself lucha based, or like what do you consider your style? Like you have lucha, technical, roughhouse, power, everything like that.
Fucking odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I started out in lucha. Mexico is where I really like got to cut my teeth, is what they would say. MPX is somewhere where I got to cut my teeth in American style. Houston taught me how to really like blend the two.
Right.
So man, I just don't have one.
Yeah.
Like you could put me in there with whoever, and I'm down for whatever they want to portray.
Nice.
Like you could put me in there with Brick, or like it doesn't matter. Brick, Max, Palmer, Livy, Zero. Like let's just make shit happen. Let's make it fun. Like I have no qualms about it. I could work all of that.
We're still
100%.
very much looking
Dimitri, like fucking Dimitri destroy me. I have no qualms about it. He's a guy who I respect to no end. Also,
Definitely.
Dimitri is an amazing locker room leader that I've seen over the last couple of events that I'm in awe of. 100%.
That definitely sounds like Dimitri Alexandrov to us.
Yeah, he's an amazing human being.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Stud Stash, another amazing human being.
Los Grudos versus Livy and Max.
Woo! Holy shit! Hey, fuck you, Robert. Why are you not here, you cocksucker? I fucking love you, but thank you for being on here. Yeah, I'm down for that. That sounds amazing.
That's actually one thing I don't think a lot of people kind of think of is like, you know, kind of locker room leaders and stuff like that.
They still need to exist?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they do.
Oh, please. Thank you.
And I think they do, but they're not talked about as much. Because, like, obviously I'm close to Dimitri. I've been in there. He is one of those that kind of does speak up, and he kind of helps lay out shows and kind of be like, hey, someone's working the leg. Don't do this. And
he's a perfect example of a fucking locker room leader. Perfect example. When I worked at Baracho Pro Show, like, even Gino was on it. And I can understand the pressures of when Gino and Stallion were on.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a lot, especially when you're trying to be the main. But right when shit was about to go off and it was me, Sky, and Insane, the first person to come up to make sure, like, hey, man, this could be dangerous.
Yeah.
Fucking know what you guys are doing was Dimitri. So fucking big props to Dimitri. I love his work. I think he's one of the most dedicated human beings to his craft.
Right.
That I have, like, an immense respect for.
And that's one of those, again, I am close to Dimitri and Sky, so it's a little biased. Mercer,
That's Sky, of course.
Mercer,
I love
I'm
Sky.
close to, but not a lot. Mercer,
Sky.
Dimitri, and Sky are deathmatch wrestlers, but they are amazing wrestlers in general.
I was going to say they're amazing wrestlers,
like,
period.
It's amazing at the things they can do and how they can transition to that.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure Mercer hates me, though, but it's okay. It's okay. I still love you, Mercer.
But it is one of those where you do have those different styles. I mean, people can even look at, like, say, the bigger feds. Danielson can do the hardcore stuff, but he's more known for actual technical wrestling.
For sure.
And I feel Dimitri and Mercer, Sky to a degree, but Mercer and Dimitri specifically are that kind of perfect hybrid of, like, you give them a death match, you give them a wrestling match. Either way,
they're going to perform
be amazing.
High level.
Yeah.
Every time.
And is it one of those that, I guess, kind of going back to the locker room leader and stuff, do you look up to them, so to speak, or?
They know that firsthand. They both know that firsthand. At Baracho Pro, I told both of them as they were standing side by side that Mercer and Dimitri were inspirations for me to get into that game.
Yeah.
Once New Jack passed.
Right.
And I was like, okay, so, like, there needs to be someone to kind of fill that void. Mm-hmm. And I knew those were the guys that were kind of like in Texas, kind of not, I wouldn't say necessarily intentionally trying to fill that void.
Right.
They just happened to be in the realm.
I've always called them the Texas Lords of Hardcore.
Yeah, like that, you know, and like they inspire me.
Right.
So thank you to them for helping me up my game in that situation. And like I said, I don't want to do exactly what they're doing. I want to modify it to something else that I am doing.
Make it your own thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's kind of like what we were talking about. Is like, do you consider yourself this or that? And you're like, no, I kind of do everything. Like,
exactly.
And it goes back to the music and Rick Rubin. You don't want to be in a box, whether it be wrestling or music
at all.
You don't want to be classified as, nope, I'm just this.
Yes.
Like, you want to be kind of a jack of all trades, master of none.
I know, like, wrestlers don't like this term, but I'm a performer. Yeah. I am a performer. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm a performer. I will make you laugh.
Yeah.
I'll make you cry. I'll make you cringe.
Right.
I'll make you do every single emotional roller coaster move there is, besides just saying, ooh, ah, boo, yay. We're going to take a fucking roller coaster and you're going to be on board or you can walk out.
Please tell me you have a story, because it's my favorite things. And Chuck Taylor and Coco Cabana have a video of them. Have you ever made a child cry?
Oh, yeah.
Tell the story, please. I love it.
This was just actually the last Squared Circle Pro event in Lubbock. It was me. It was Los Crudos, me and Sauce versus Bloodlust, Damian Blood and Lilith Blood. And that fucking match. Okay, so the Lilith, the female,
right?
There was a fan in the crowd. He was like, "That's my favorite wrestler," and I was like, "Oh yeah, the same fucking pants I'm wearing." I always have a fucking plastic bag, so beware out there, motherfuckers. I'm letting you know right now. When you see me in a death match, these fucking pants got a plastic bag. So I whip out the plastic bag and I undo it, and right when that kid's like, "That's my favorite wrestler," I bag her and I fucking tie it up, and he starts bawling his eyes immediately, and I cut her off of all her oxygen, and he's like,
That is heel work.
And I'm looking him straight in the eye as I've got her bagged, and I'm laughing at him.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, and he just starts bawling. But the payoff,
Your favorite's gonna die,
yeah,
kid.
that's what I say. But the payoff is that she fucking ends up nailing me with the weed whacker in the match, and hey, the kid knows I get the comeuppance, he gets the fucking payoff in the match. Everybody leaves happy going home.
Can we just talk about for a second that two people with the last name Blood are not the heels in this match?
Right?
They're over as a motherfucker.
Almost committed murder.
They're over as a motherfucker. I'll say that much.
We talk about
He pulled the homicide, and it's amazing.
I have been told by Zach Morgan I need to go out to SCP a number of times, so I think I will at some point.
It is a unique environment. We get so many different legends that go through there. We had Medusa, the last event. Missy Hyatt's on this one. I really feel like Damo's going to have a growing period there where he's going to come into his own.
Touching on a little bit, because you have talked about the veterans. What veteran would you say has kind of given you the best advice or kind of helped you, or has there been one?
Yeah. Let me, Bowman Downs. Mm-hmm. Bowman Downs has been in this fucking industry longer than I can say how long. And I've had a lot of guys who've been in longer that have given me a lot of advice that was almost counterintuitive. Mm-hmm. But at least he knows like to give me advice that's within the realms of what I'm working. And then closely after that would be Manimal. Okay. For sure. And down right after that, to me, what I listen closely to my heart would probably be like the Houston Cats, because for some reason they understand what's in tune. Okay. They're in line with the pulse. You know what I mean?
And no, it really is. It's one of those like I fucking hate Houston, but goddamn the fucking wrestling and the talent that is there. It's great.
They have their finger on the pulse.
God damn it.
They have their finger on the pulse.
I also have one of the bigger indie shows out there.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I said, I fucking hate that arena, but Loco and New Texas ran out of it, and that atmosphere and that crowd and the cards they put on. It's fucking great. And yeah, you look at the talent that comes out of Houston, and it is good, but it's like, fuck, it's Houston. Why? Like you were saying, like
New Jersey,
Houston
Texas
is my number one hated city. Lubbock is number
but I mean,
two.
we can think about like the history going back to Paul Bosch. The wrestling history in Houston's fucking, it's almost unmatched besides maybe Amarillo. Then we're talking about the Funks. You know what I mean? Or Dallas. Then we're talking about the fucking Von Erichs. You know what I mean?
It is. And then San Antonio with Bullard.
I mean, fuck San Antonio, still sucks.
Name? Yeah,
so,
but
I mean, I'm calling you out San Antonio. You still fucking suck. Get your shit together.
But it is one of those. It is rich in history, and that's the thing.
That's why I hate people.
I've always kind of.
I'm Shawn Michaels. I trained Shawn. I trained. Fucking have a promotion worth a fuck.
Me and my brother are 15 years apart, and I always wish we had swapped because I would have loved to grown up in the 80s with the Von Erichs and shit like that.
Fuck yeah, I agree.
But it's one of
like
the,
that whole
Houston,
like plot should have been a museum.
Yeah, it really should, and all that stuff. But when you look at the history in wrestling, Texas wrestling did fall off for a good while. Mm-hmm. But man, has it fucking come back.
Oh yeah.
And it does. I do. While yes, Booker T's name has helped a lot. To me, New Texas has been tremendous in getting that Texas name back out there. Loco has done amazing things. Circle 6 has come in and done great things.
I think Loco's unmatched on bringing the new generation of wrestling fans into being interested.
There's been so many other great promotions that's really built up Texas again.
For sure.
It truly is a hotbed.
There's so many different places to go to.
There really is.
Insane.
And fucking Brian Cage had talked about it on a podcast, I think with Colt, when they were talking about states you want to go to, and he goes, "Man, Texas is on fire right now. I love going to Texas."
That's why when cats are like, "Oh, you gotta get out of Texas," like, what? Why? You could work in fucking Texas, all of I-35, and make a living. Wake the fuck up.
Yeah.
Stop being a mark for yourself.
Yeah.
Work I-35. Make a living.
So I guess you're against that whole argument of, well, in Texas you can go drive like 500 miles and
If you're a mark, go out and work in California and fucking Nevada. And
See, now
you
just about to say
could.
that.
Fucking go for it.
I do feel that is an argument though. You can drive 8 hours still to be in Texas and still work the same people you would have worked if you stayed
But those
home.
are the same guys that want to work in a whole other state that's only 5 hours away when you could work 9 hours away and still make $250 to $450 if you play it right.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about, is playing it right.
And that is true. I think that it's not even just wrestling. It is the world itself. People are not asking for their worth. People are just trying to take what they can get.
Yeah.
Like you go to a fucking McDonald's, you know you're worth fucking 20, but you'll take fucking 13 because that's what you need.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
And it's wrestling. That's the same thing. Hey, I know I'm worth $50, but I'll take your 20 you're offering me. Like it's the world we live in general, and it kind of sucks.
There's just no need to play that game anymore, I feel like. But back to also Greg, great question. Have I wrestled Matt Locke or Brick Savage? No, Matt. I would love to be able to wrestle Matt somewhere down the line. He'd probably fucking devastate me, but he's lucky I'm into BDSM, so I don't give fucking two shits if he wants to fuck me up.
Okay, so I need to rate Henry. That's it.
I was gonna say hot is perfect. That hot,
Yes.
that hot hardcore title.
I don't
Matt
care.
Locke versus Aven.
Stick
Perfect.
stuff where you want, buddy. I don't care. That's not gonna matter. Brick Savage. I love Brick. Brick. I know he doesn't want to put this out there. Brick is a good brother. He's a good brother.
Oh, yeah.
Brick is good people. Always gonna be good people. Damo's good people. Good people. I have nothing bad to say about them.
You can say Damon's good. You're not allowed to say Brick's good. Brick wants to keep the image of he's mean.
I know. I'm just saying. I've met them both at the same time. They're good people. I'm just gonna be authentic about it.
They both are. They're both amazing.
Fantastic human beings.
Yes.
Yes.
Fantastic human beings. Today we learned Brick Savage, Damo, fucking Dimitri, Lowrider.
Well, anybody who
Ivan,
didn't know about Dimitri
good people.
is blind.
All good people. Fantastic human beings.
Yes, definitely.
For sure.
I just kind of realized, holy shit, I don't think I've ever seen Lowrider live. What the fuck?
You have,
Man,
he was
you're
a-
I don't
he was a-
think so.
He was a Lucha Brutal.
Was he?
Yeah.
There's
Okay,
nobody else that
yeah.
could turn on a random crowd out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Until like 11.
Because
I know I've seen clips of him, and I know I've watched him on IWTV, but I was like, I don't think I've ever seen him live.
Yeah, no, it's like he was at Lucha Brutal once. I'm pretty sure. Because I know that someone else. We had Lucifer over at MPX at one point.
Yes.
Lucifer, I defeated Lucifer. I partied harder than the devil, and it was a fun experience. It was dope. That match is on my YouTube, by the way. Aven Axel, please go check that out.
Yeah, definitely.
Leave a drop or say you fucking hated it in the comments. I really don't give a shit. Just say something.
As long as you comment, it helps the algorithm. It's great.
Yeah, no, that's one of the
Flip me
things I love.
off.
It's like
Tell me I'm a terrible wrestler. I don't care.
Thumbs up, thumbs down, doesn't matter.
Doesn't
as long
matter.
as you're, interacting and engaging the
Speaking
algorithm.
of thumbs up, thumbs down, you versus
Sami
Sami
Callihan.
Callihan.
Please, for the love of fucking God, let's make that happen because that you asked me earlier what's a
July 8th. No.
a fucking inspiration is without trying is he became an inadvertent inspiration. Everybody was like, hey man, you should cut your hair into this wacky like fucking short standy thing and be like Sammy.
Yeah.
Oh, you're 5'8" and you're stout. You should be like the whole like for
yeah.
like the first 4 years of my fucking career, people were like, you're the next Callahan.
Yeah.
And now that I'm like not in shape, they're like, you're fucking what's that guy from Circle 6?
Yo, there's Carl. Sorry.
Atticus.
No, not
Circle
Atticus.
sound like
The
Atticus
other one.
Bogart's the only one I think
Atticus,
of.
not Atticus. The other one, Jimmy Lloyd.
Oh, okay,
they're like,
Jimmy
now
Lloyd.
you're Jimmy Lloyd, and I'm like, man, fucking make up your mind, people. It's Jimmy Lloyd or it's
I was wrestling
Fucking
before
Sammy.
Jimmy Lloyd was. What the fuck?
I mean, fuck me, right? But that's
That
how
is-
wrestling works.
Those are things I do like, though, in wrestling.
Carl Knight. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. We should always set out. Carl! Those are things I always like in wrestling when you can see fans become wrestlers. When you watch old CCW, you see Jimmy Lloyd in the crowd.
It's crazy, yeah.
And then he's also like their main fucking guy, and it's like, oh, this is cool to see.
Yeah, no
That's
doubt.
why. That's one thing I was kind of, when I asked, I was like, hey, you were only 5 years back. Did you see yourself at WrestleMania X7? Because now you're kind of a wrestler. You're like, that's cool to see.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
It's like Edge WrestleMania 6.
Yeah.
They have that picture of him, and then all of a sudden he's one of their biggest guys. Like, holy shit, that's amazing.
No doubt. Let's put the energy out there. Jimmy Lloyd, everybody compares me to you. Get the fuck out here. Let's fuck each other up. Let's make this happen. Don't be a bitch. Let's fucking do this.
Circle 6 will do that shit.
Let's fucking do it. Come on. Barroom Brawl. Barroom Blitz. Whatever the fuck you guys call that gimmick. Let's fucking do it. Come on.
Those are some of my favorites, and I know some people hate them. Olivia. No ring death matches.
My favorite.
Love that shit.
My favorite.
Bar fights.
I love them. I love them.
They're great though.
Yeah,
I love them.
Amazing.
Once again, my YouTube. Go to that fucking latest match I put up. It's me versus Lucifer. 10 minutes of fucking absolute madness. I break out 4 wrestling moves in that whole thing. He breaks out every. There's a guy in a shopping cart in that fucking match that he hits me with. It's better than all of that fucking AEW video game. Stop being a fucking bitch and go watch my fucking match because it's better than that stupid game. And if you don't know about that, go get No Mercy. Go get like WrestleMania 2000 or WCW Revenge. Do yourself a fucking favor. Grow up. You won't regret it.
You're trying to team with Zero. Why are you calling him out?
I'm just saying. It's a far better, superior game. You have a good time. I played it.
That is one thing. Going to the no ring death matches, and the person who put it on was Heavy Metal. Did you ever get a chance to work with Heavy Metal and anything like that?
No, I did not. I got to
that is very your style.
Yeah, they're just not. The Austin scene is very Austin.
Yes,
it's Austin people feeding the Austin scene, and that's cool. Like, I don't mind it at all. I like that they feed themselves and they energize and synergize themselves. No qualms about it whatsoever. We got to do what's that? The offshoot of it. The me and Sauce got to do the it starts with an I.
Inspire?
No, not Inspire. The one after that one. There was one more after that one. Inspire.
I was going to say there was Inspire and there was Inspire AD, but they were both run by us.
It might have been Inspire AD.
Okay.
Where we got to be on the first Inspire AD show. It was me and Sauce. And that was like at a thrift shop or secondary Austin hipster fucking deal, whatever. But we enjoyed it. It was a good show. Good. Excuse me. Inspire AD was a show.
Okay.
Good times.
Yeah.
Have you ever wrestled bare boards?
Ooh, SCP, infamous. Thank you, Phil. You fuck.
Infamous. Okay.
It was infamous. Yeah. Bare boards should be hopefully coming soon. Let's see if the other team is willing to do it. But
is
don't
it
be
August
pussies.
12th at Vino's?
August 12th at Vino's because Robert couldn't be here because he's a lazy asshole. Robert, August 12th we are at Vino's in Arkansas. Honestly, very close to Locals Energy, close to Infamous Energy, close to that type of punk rock metal energy that we got at 666. It's a bunch of punks, it's a bunch of metalheads. Nice. That's where we made the 7.8 million views for. So please join us for that. That's August 12th. Keep up with your boy. That's me. The follows have been insane on Instagram since then.
Nice.
How have you been to Arkansas before?
Yeah. This is our
so you're
fourth.
So it's fine there with it and everything. So
for sure. Okay. I love Arkansas. Arkansas is a state that they're finally coming up with their own version of Loco essentially. Okay. Just being 100% away from the norms of wrestling and appealing to the punk rock metal fans, and it's fantastic. Vino's top notch, good pizza. Good beer, better wrestlers. That was a pizza commercial back in the day. I don't know what that was.
I'll answer Carl's question for you. Yes, you and Sauce want horsepower in a junkyard match.
Definitely.
I want to see a junkyard match.
I want a junkyard match. Let's make that fucking happen. 100%. 100%. We still need this rematch between us and them. We took the titles in a cage match going back to I don't know when at GWF. I've had that title sitting in my goddamn closet for 6 months. Us and Horsepower deserve a fucking rematch.
I love how it's not even on a mantle. It's like, it's in my fucking closet.
And what am I supposed to do with it? I'm keeping it safe. I'm keeping it safe. It's hanging in there. All right?
Closet in his
it's at least
garage.
hanging?
Yeah, it's hanging.
Okay, cool.
You know,
It's in
I
the
don't want it
closet
to
in
get
his garage next to his
stretched
Camaro.
out. I don't want it to get fucking ugly.
Yeah,
So
that
it's
works.
in there, and yeah, let's make it happen with Horsepower. Horsepower is our favorite nemesis and adversaries because I like to tie up Eddie Martinez and whip him, and I like to abuse him. That's one of my favorite hobbies, is to abuse Eddie Martinez. Yes, for sure.
Okay. It's
Is
okay.
that why Eddie hasn't been at MPX?
That's why
I
we
think-
haven't seen Eddie in
I
forever.
think Eddie-
He's in his fucking basement like the fucking Gimp in Pulp Fiction.
I think you figured out about Infliction Hall.
No, it's right down the road.
I do. I'm a member, Eddie. You can come find me. We can have a match at Infliction Hall, Eddie. I challenge Eddie Martinez to an Infliction Hall match to 3 seconds of pleasure. If you get 3 seconds of pleasure, you're out. That's how it works.
Carl,
No one
fucking
else.
looking for legacy.
Between the
I mean, I'll
His
commentate
clean and
for
dirty
sure.
shirts.
do light tube stains with gusset plates. We can do gussets. I don't give a fuck. I'm down.
Dude, is there one you like more than the other?
Between gussets or tubes?
Yeah.
I prefer the tubes
Yeah.
over gussets. Yeah, the tubes give you more like creative freedom because once you break it, it's like a paintbrush.
Yep.
You can kind of do stuff with it. Once the gusset plate is like one and done.
Yeah.
Once it's in there, you can't do shit with it. You
Right.
know what I mean? So
And it's one of those I love, like we had talked about earlier, because before people come on, I'm usually watching stupid wrestling shit. I love the light tubes because they're kind of chaotic.
Oh,
you may,
for
you
sure.
may hit over the head, but your shoulder's cut, and you're like, how the fuck did the shoulder cut? I love it. And
Yeah.
it's one of those where, yeah, it probably sucks for the competitor that's doing it, but it's one of those where you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's always going to bleed. There are sometimes you'll do a gusset plate and you'll go like that, and they pull it out, and there's a little trickle, but not a lot. You do a
Okay, you
fucking
don't have to
bundle.
call Dimitri out like that.
no, it's
No,
for
no, no.
your entertainment, you sick fucks.
To be fair,
And if you don't appreciate it, fuck you.
that is very true.
Yep.
To be fair, Dimitri and Angel Blue and Anarchy fucking bled amazingly.
Awesome.
Both of them, it was great.
I hated
But
that.
gusset plates, that's one of those where if you hit it, shoulder, head, whatever, and you pull it out, there may be a trickle, whatever. But light tubes, you never know where it's going to go, and it's
Yeah,
amazing.
I 100% agree. It's chaos at its absolute
Like,
common denominator.
I love glass and I love light tubes for that reason. It's chaos.
Yes.
Now,
I am a fan of chaos. Let's put that out there. I like to imagine I am a chaos incarnate, and like I leave it to the most common denominator of chaos. Where can we go with this chaos
yeah.
and spread it?
Now, one of the things of chaos I don't like, just because myself, I'm terrified of it. Fucking fire. I hate
Ooh,
fire
it's a difficult
shit.
one. It's a difficult one.
But it is chaotic, and there are people that are like, oh yeah, let's do it. I'm down for it. I'm like, I'm terrified of fire in general, so no.
Remedy. Fire punch.
Greg asked a good question. Legos or thumbtacks? I would say Legos over thumbtacks because the Legos don't stick inside. So that's on you how you interpret that.
But I feel like the Legos would sting and stick more. Like, yes, the thumbtack's in, but you pull it out. The Lego, it sticks, you pull it off. You still have the image and
There's
the
no
feel.
trickles at the very least.
See,
Very least.
like I keep saying, it's like if these hardcore wrestlers really want to push the limit, they need to get themselves a bucket full of goat heads.
Don't get me fucking started. don't toss me ideas. I'm down for buckets of goat heads. Let's make it
But,
happen. Actually, my original idea. Let me throw it out there before this fucking idea gets stolen. It's fucking right here. My idea is to do a South Texas death match where we do stickers. I know you guys call
Oh my god.
stickers are spinas. They're like sticks of fucking these little circles that
Yep.
just have hundreds of like needles all over them. I want a whole bag of these motherfuckers,
Jesus.
and that's your punishment when you work with me. Is you're gonna get fucking stick.
And I feel that's the thing that, like that, people can identify with. They've had a sticker in their foot. They're like, ow, that hurts. People have stuck on a tack. They're like, ow, that hurts. So when you see things like that in wrestling, people have stepped on Legos. That's why it identifies like, oh shit, that
Yup.
hurts. So yeah, oh my god, having a sticker man, fuck you. God damn, that just
Does
sucked.
carpet tack strips? Okay, I'll do you one better. I'm gonna call it the christening. And so far, I haven't released what it absolutely is. But once the christening gets released in the next few months, the entire fucking deathmatch scene will be fucking changed. And you guys will be like, this is the Terrifier spot of the deathmatch scene. It's not, the idea hasn't been released, but it will. And you'll see whether I take it or I give it. But it'll be there.
Oh, damn, Libby.
I love how someone who's not a deathmatch wrestler is changing the deathmatch scene.
That's
and I fully believe
that's the whole thing.
I'm not saying you're not. I fully believe you are.
You know?
But it's like, holy shit, someone who's not in the deathmatch scene is actually going to change it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm trying to do is stretch things out and make it different.
Yep.
Mesquite branches.
Oh, I like that
switch.
too. I like that too. That's a winner. The mesquite branches might be a winner. That's a good old idea.
Nope.
I like that. I like the idea a whole lot.
See,
Okay,
again.
You bring the tweezers
Again.
though.
the ring crew needs to wear leather gloves and steel toe boots.
Again,
Clean up.
something you identify with that fucking hurts.
Yeah.
So the fan themselves are like, oh god.
Have I ever used a cactus? Nay. Have I seen people fall into the cactus? Yay. Would I want to do it? Nay. So let's put that out there.
Oh, so we found your one no cactus.
It's not a no, but it's got to be a fucking decent payday.
It's a
I was gonna say.
hey.
It's-
Here's an extra $20 fall on the cake.
fucking 20. Let's put a fucking. Hey, come on, guy. Let's make that like 10 times much.
I think
maybe.
I was gonna say it's like someone who can
shit.
afford the extra 20 can afford the extra
that's-
50.
that-
Yeah, that's what you see. This guy gets it.
That's
He gets it.
That's my favorite New Jack story. He dove off the balcony once. Everyone loved it. Paul's like, "Hey, you gotta do it again." He goes, "Cool. Give me an extra $50."
That's what I'm saying. Hey, you gotta know your worth out there.
And then Paul
all you
did
homies
it.
out there.
And then he's like, "Hey, it's a big show. You gotta do it again." He goes, "Cool. Give me 100."
Gotta know your worth out there.
You want this high spot, pays for the high spot.
Oh, hey, Carl Knight called it. Don't do that to me, homie, because my litany of that hardware is beyond the pistol. That's all I'm gonna say.
So,
Jeez.
fun story. They may get mad at me for saying this. Remedy at the No Ring Death Show. He was like,
No, say less. You said fucking Remedy. Say fucking less.
he was like, "Come with me." So we go to his truck, and he's like, "Fuck it and bring it." I was like, "What?" And he goes, "We're gonna bring a fucking gun to the death match." I was like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "It's alright, I got a knife." I was like, "Jesus
See,
Christ!"
that brings to mind something that Kirby used to say in training, in which he'd say, it's like these fucking big ass moves, like the Destroyer, Spanish Fly, everything like that, and that's a kick out. Man, fuck, duck one, mind the gun, because that's the only way you're gonna have a big finish for a match after that shit. He's like, oh, well, there's the gun.
And that was the funny thing was, okay, so he didn't do the gun spot because he forgot his gun. So he did the knife spot where the person was against the board, they ducked, and he went and then, of course, missed with the knife. I'm like,
Jesus
what
fucking
the fuck?
Christ.
But no, that's
Sounds like Remedy.
Pull a fucking gun. Yeah, why not? It's a fucking death match.
Keep those questions coming. We're ending the night. If you got questions, ask them now. Because we're about to close out the night.
I was
here
actually
soon
going to
now.
ask. I was like, okay, obviously you don't have you don't give a shit about making the major leagues, quote unquote.
Oh, yeah, no, fuck all that.
So what do you want? What is your not end goal, but what is your peak right
To
now?
be Gigi Allen of pro wrestling. That's it.
I taught Kyle who that was.
So she did, but it was also because of Darby Allin, so it's kind of be better than Darby Allin?
No, I don't. No. My athletic. I've known Darby since he was making $50 on the wrestling scene. Also, I wrestled Sammy Guevara when he was working at Mexican restaurants doing lucha matches. So I fucking get that too. I
I'm
don't.
old, Yusuke.
My fucking 10% exists out there, and that's it. That's all I'm trying to say. Is my 10% exists out there, and they're currently what's putting food on my table, paying my rent, and my fucking car bill, and my fucking car insurance.
So again, it's going to the more of being fun and being you.
Yeah, 100%. And also making a connection with those fans at the shows.
Yeah.
Like letting them know what's up, drinking with them, smoking a blunt with them, fucking, I'm going to say, I don't give a fuck. Like whatever, doing whatever they bring and hanging out with them. I don't care. As long as the fans are having fun when they come to the shows, bottom line, that's what matters, because they are the ticket holders. They are the ones spending the money to come see us.
Right.
They deserve the experience to go home and tell their
Absolutely.
friends, hey, I saw
Holy
El
shit.
Baracho eat a light bulb, cut his own lip, and that's what I paid to see, and now I want to buy a shirt.
Okay. Well, we talked about it earlier. Let's go ahead and talk. Finish it up with that. You talked about your Insta, your Facebook, everything like that, to be able to plug what you're doing next and where. Go ahead, plug it.
Cool. So reach out to me on Facebook at Aven Axel, AVENAXL on Facebook. Instagram, reach out to me at I'm really Aven Axel, I am really as spelled AVENAXL. I don't do TikTok, so I have no TikTok. But if you want to reach out to me and get a shirt or merch, I'll give you my personal phone number if you reach out on the socials, and we'll link up. And if you're at any of those shows for whatever reason, and I've got some fucking narcotics you really fucking want, reach out to me on any of that on Messenger, and we'll fucking make something work. Some green, some white, some brown, whatever you want. We'll fucking, you know what's up. Reach out to me on Messenger. It doesn't matter if it's in Arkansas, the Valley, the 956, the fucking 832. I don't give a shit. We'll make it work. That's the difference between me and all these fucking wrestlers. I don't give a fuck. We're beyond that. Team Aven Axel Baracho, beyond all that shit.
Yeah, definitely. Make sure you check it out. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight, Aven. Guys, make sure you tune in next week as well, because as cool as this was, next week we're having a twofer. We're going to be having a show on Thursday, and we're going to have a show on Saturday. It's a special show. On Thursday, you're going to see the Lord himself, the final boss, Exodus Prime, finally coming to CMP Studios. Oh, yeah. And then on Saturday, during the day, we're going to be having one of the new hot acts in Texas.
Who's that?
Jet Black.
Oh, shit. Jet Black.
Make sure you tune in, check it out, and we will see you later. Keep it kayfabe, wrestling fans.
Ooh, yeah.
There's no screen. We're off.
Oh, man. Well, we were fucking cutting promos.
Fucked it up.
We're cutting
No, you
promos
talk
there.
about it.
You're
Hey, bro, we're pros.